Ah, welcome back, beautiful ghosts. The ones who finally let go. The ones who stopped running after people who were walking away. The ones who put the phone down mid-text and never picked it back up. Yeah, you. I see you. And apparently, so does everyone else now. Because something happened, didn't it? Something shifted in the atmosphere. You stopped chasing. And the whole damn world started sprinting after you. You stopped begging for scraps of attention. And suddenly they're checking your page like it's a news alert. You stopped explaining yourself. And now they're writing dissertations trying to decode your silence. You vanished. And they're having full-blown existential crises about where you went, who you're with, what you're thinking, why you're not thinking about them anymore. Let me tell you what's really happening here. They thought your chase was proof of their value. They thought your texts, your calls, your energy, your desperation to be chosen. They thought that was their currency. They thought they were the prize, and you were just another contestant begging for a chance. But then you did the unthinkable. You stopped playing. You didn't announce it. You didn't make a scene. You didn't post some dramatic goodbye. You just stopped. And that broke their entire reality. Because now they're forced to ask a question they've been avoiding their whole lives. If I'm so valuable, why did they walk away so easily? If I'm so special, why aren't they fighting for me? If I'm the catch everyone says I am, why does their absence feel like the apocalypse? See, here's what they don't understand. Your chase wasn't about them. It was about you. You were chasing the version of them you built in your head. You were chasing closure, validation, the fantasy of being chosen by someone who clearly didn't deserve you. But the moment you stopped, the moment you looked at that phone, that unanswered message, that one-sided energy, and said, you know what? I'm done. That's when you reclaimed something they never expected you to find, yourself. And now you're walking around with this energy they can't describe. This unbothered, untouchable, unshakable presence that makes every room you enter feel different. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're not posting cryptic quotes. You're just free. And freedom. Freedom is the most terrifying thing to people who are still in chains. They're panicking because they thought you needed them. They structured their entire ego around the idea that you were the desperate one, the emotional one, the one who cared too much. And now you've shattered that illusion by proving you can live. No, not just live, thrive without them. You're not sulking in your room replaying old conversations. You're not drunk texting at 2 a.m., begging for another chance. You're not even angry. You're just gone. And that silence is louder than any scream you could have let out. It echoes in their mind every single day. They wake up thinking about you. They go to sleep wondering what you're doing. They see your name and their chest tightens because they know they lost something irreplaceable and they're never getting it back. You want to know the real reason they're panicking? Because you stopped feeding their addiction. They were addicted to your attention, your energy, your need to be chosen by them. And now you've gone cold turkey, and they're going through withdrawals. Every time they post, they're checking if you watched. Every time they go out, they're scanning the room, hoping you'll walk in. Every time their phone buzzes, there's a split second where they think it's you, and when it's not, they die a little inside, because you're not just gone, you're unbothered. And unbothered. Unbothered is unforgivable to people who thought they had power over you. You didn't just walk away. You evolved past the need for their existence. And that's what keeps them up at night. Let's talk about what's happening in their world right now, shall we? Because it's chaos. It's beautiful, poetic, karmic chaos. They're scrolling through your old messages, trying to find the moment they lost you. They're rereading conversations from months ago, analyzing your tone, looking for clues they missed. Did they say something wrong? Was there a specific moment? Or did you just wake up one day and realize they weren't worth the energy anymore? And that question is eating them alive. Because if there was a moment, they could fix it. They could apologize, manipulate, love bomb their way back in. But if you just outgrew them, if you just evolved past their frequency, there's nothing they can do. You can't negotiate with someone who doesn't want you anymore. They're asking mutual friends about you. Have you heard from them? How are they doing? Are they seeing anyone? And when those friends say you're doing great, better than great, actually thriving, glowing, unbothered, their stomach drops. Because that means you weren't broken by them. You weren't destroyed. You weren't waiting by the phone hoping they'd come back. You just moved on. Like they were a chapter you finished reading and never thought about again. And for someone who thought they were your whole story, that's unacceptable. That's ego death. That's the realization that maybe, just maybe, they weren't as important as they convinced themselves they were. Maybe you were the catch all along. Maybe you were the one doing them a favor. Maybe losing you was the biggest mistake of their life. And now it's too late. Here's what's really happening in their head right now. They're comparing everyone new to you. Every conversation feels shallow because it's not you. Every laugh feels forced because it's not your laugh. Every attempt at connection feels hollow because they're realizing you can't replace depth with distraction. You can't replace real with convenient. And now they're stuck in this loop where they keep trying to find someone who makes them feel the way you did, but no one does. Because you weren't just a person. You were a mirror. You reflected back their potential, their better self, the version of them that could have been something real. And now that mirror is gone, and all they see is the truth. They're shallow. They're selfish. They're scared. And without you, they're nothing special. They thought ghosting you would make you chase harder. They thought pulling back would make you cling tighter. They thought playing games would keep you hooked. But you did something they never prepared for. You called their bluff. You said, okay, you want space? Here's all the space in the universe. Enjoy. And now they're drowning in that space. They're suffocating in the silence they created. They wanted you to fight for them, but instead, you fought for yourself. And that was the move they never saw coming. Because it wasn't a move designed to hurt them or teach them a lesson. It was a move designed to free you. And freedom? Freedom doesn't need revenge. It doesn't need closure. It doesn't need the last word. Freedom just leaves. And that exit, That exit is haunting them more than any argument ever could. You know what the sickest part is? They're not even panicking because they miss you. They're panicking because they're realizing you were the best thing they're ever going to have, and they threw it away for nothing. For ego, for options, for the illusion of greener grass. And now they're standing in a field of weeds, pretending it's a garden. They're forcing smiles with people who don't get them. They're faking connections with people who don't challenge them. They're settling for surface-level everything because deep down they know no one is going to love them the way you did. No one is going to see them the way you did. No one is going to fight for them the way you did. And the worst part? They're the ones who destroyed it. They can't blame you. They can't play victim. They can only sit in the wreckage of their own choices and wonder, what if I hadn't been so stupid? Let's get real about your silence for a second. Because it's not just absence. It's not just you're not around anymore. No, your silence is a statement. It's a declaration. It's a truth bomb they can't diffuse. Every day you don't reach out is another day. They're forced to confront the reality that you don't need them. Every week that passes without your name on their screen is another week they realize you're not coming back. And that realization, it's not happening all at once. It's slow. It's agonizing. It's death by 1,000 realizations. First, they think you're just busy. Then they think you're playing hard to get. Then they think you're trying to make them jealous. And then it hits them. You're not playing anything. You're just done. Your silence is doing something their words never could. It's making them reflect. It's making them question everything they thought they knew about themselves. Because when you were there, chasing, caring, trying, they could ignore their flaws. They could pretend they were the prize. But now that you're gone, now they're alone with their thoughts. And those thoughts aren't pretty. They're realizing how badly they treated you. They're remembering the times you tried to communicate and they dismissed you. They're recalling the moments you needed them and they were too busy for you. They're seeing, for the first time, that they weren't the main character in this story. You were, and they were just the obstacle you had to overcome to find yourself. And that truth is shattering their entire identity. Here's what they don't want to admit. Your silence has more power than their words ever did. Because words can be manipulated, twisted, explained away. But silence can't be argued with. Silence doesn't defend itself. Silence just exists. And in that existence, it forces everyone around it to fill in the blanks. And the blanks they're filling in, they're terrifying. They're imagining you happy without them. They're imagining you with someone better. They're imagining you living your best life while they're stuck in the same patterns. And whether those things are true or not doesn't matter, because in their mind, your silence confirms their worst fears. You don't need them. You don't miss them. You don't think about them. And that's more painful than any insult you could have thrown their way. You're not posting about them. You're not subtweeting. You're not playing the victim on social media. And that's what's driving them insane. Because they're used to people who chase them making a scene when they leave. They're used to tears, drama, public meltdowns, desperate attempts to get their attention. But you just vanished like smoke, like you were never even there. And that's the ultimate power move. Because it says you weren't important enough to fight over. You weren't worth the energy it would take to hate you. You were just a lesson I learned and moved on from. And for someone who needs to feel important, needed, desired, that's the worst sentence they could ever hear. You didn't even care enough to hate them. You just forgot them. Like they were a song you used to like, but don't listen to anymore. They're checking your social media obsessively now. Every story, every post, every like, they're analyzing it all, looking for signs you're thinking about them. And when they don't find any, when your life looks full, happy, peaceful, when there's no trace of them in your world anymore, that's when the panic really sets in. Because it means you erased them, not just from your phone, not just from your life, but from your emotional hard drive. You reformatted, you rebooted. And the version of you that's running now, it doesn't have their file anymore. They've been deleted permanently. No recycle bin, no backup, no restore option, just gone. And that permanence, that finality, it's the nightmare they never thought they'd have to face. Because they always assumed you'd be there, waiting, hoping, ready to take them back the moment they decided to come around. But you're not. And now they're realizing some doors don't open twice. Oh, and let's talk about what's happening with whoever they're with now, because that's where the real torture lives. See, they thought replacing you would be easy. They thought the next person would make them forget. They thought new energy would erase old feelings. But here's what's actually happening. Every single person they meet now gets compared to you, and no one is measuring up. They're on dates thinking about how you would have laughed at that joke. They're in conversations realizing this person doesn't challenge them like you did. They're in bed with someone new, feeling emptier than they did alone. Because chemistry isn't something you can manufacture. Depth isn't something you can fake. And what you had together, that was real, rare, irreplaceable. And they threw it away. They're trying to convince themselves they're happier now. They're posting pictures, acting unbothered, pretending their life is amazing. But you know what's funny? The people who are truly happy don't need to announce it constantly. They don't need to perform their joy for an audience. They just live it. But them, they're performing. They're putting on a show, hoping you're watching, hoping you're jealous, hoping you're regretting walking away. But here's the plot twist. You're not watching. You're not jealous. You're not thinking about them at all. And that indifference is the ultimate revenge. Because it proves you meant what you said when you walked away. You weren't bluffing. You weren't playing games. You were just done. And done doesn't come back. Done doesn't negotiate. Done is final. The person they're with now, they're a placeholder, a distraction, a band-aid on a wound that needs surgery. And deep down, they know it. They know they're settling. They know this person doesn't make them feel alive the way you did. They know the conversations are surface level. The chemistry is forced. The connection is shallow. But they can't admit it. Because admitting it would mean admitting they lost you. admitting they made the biggest mistake of their life, admitting that their ego destroyed something beautiful. So instead, they pretend, they fake it, they lie to themselves and everyone around them. But at night, when it's quiet, when the distractions fade, they think about you. They wonder what you're doing. They replay the memories, and they hate themselves for letting you go. Here's what kills them the most. You're not sitting around heartbroken. You're not crying over them. You're not stalking their page. You're out there living, glowing, evolving, becoming the version of yourself they'll never get to witness up close. And one day, they're going to see you with someone new, someone who treats you right, someone who values you, someone who doesn't play games because they're too busy being grateful they found you. And on that day, their entire world is going to collapse. Because that's when it becomes real. That's when they realize you didn't just leave them. You upgraded. You found better. You proved that walking away from them was the best decision you ever made. And that visual, that reality, it's going to haunt them for the rest of their life. Because they could have been that person. They had the chance, and they blew it. You want to know the ultimate irony? They thought you needed them more than they needed you. They thought you were the lucky one for having their attention. They thought they were doing you a favor by keeping you around. But now the roles have reversed. Now they're the ones hoping for a text. Now they're the ones wondering if there's still a chance. Now they're the ones feeling like they lost something they'll never find again. And you're just existing, peacefully, powerfully, unbothered, because you finally learned the lesson they refused to teach themselves. You can't lose someone who wasn't meant for you. You can only lose someone who was blocking your path to someone better. And the moment you stopped chasing them, that's when you started walking toward yourself. And yourself is the only person you needed all along. Now let's talk about the moment they realize they can't get you back. Because that moment is coming. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But it's coming. Maybe it's when they finally swallow their pride and reach out. And you don't respond. Maybe it's when they show up somewhere hoping to run into you, and you look right through them like they're a stranger. Maybe it's when they hear through the grapevine that you're happy, thriving, in love with your life, and they realize they're not part of that life anymore. Whatever the catalyst, the moment is coming when they understand you're not coming back. And that moment is going to break something inside them that never fully heals. They're going to try everything. They're going to send the "I miss you" text at midnight. They're going to like your old pictures, hoping you notice. They're going to show up in places they think you'll be. They're going to use mutual friends to get information. They're going to play the victim, the changed person, the one who finally gets it now. They're going to promise they're different, better, ready for real love. And you know what you're going to do? Absolutely nothing. Because you've already been down that road. You've already given chances. You've already believed the promises. And you're not doing it again. Not because you're bitter, but because you're smart. Welcome back. You silent weapons, you walking psychological experiments, the ones who learned to speak without words, who figured out that your presence alone rewrites the room's emotional code. They felt it, didn't they? That shift in the air when you walked in, the way their spine straightened, the way their voice changed, pitch, the way their confidence suddenly needed to explain itself, and they don't even know why. They just know something about you makes their nervous system scream danger, and it's not what you said because you barely said anything. It's how you stood, how you looked, how you existed in that space, like you owned the oxygen itself. They've been studying your movements, haven't they? The way you cross your arms, the way you hold eye contact, 3 seconds too long, the way you don't smile when they expect you to, the way your silence doesn't apologize, doesn't fill the gap, doesn't beg for acceptance. You learned something they never will, that the body speaks in frequencies. The brain can't translate that. Millions of years of evolution are screaming through your posture, your gait, your micro-expressions, and their primitive brain, the one that kept their ancestors alive, that ancient reptilian core. It's detecting something. It can't name a predator that doesn't look like a predator, a threat that doesn't announce itself. Let me tell you what's really happening here. Because while they're sitting there, uncomfortable sweating, trying to figure out why you make them nervous, their amygdala is firing like a broken alarm system. You're triggering threat responses. They don't have conscious access to your body language, isn't communicating weakness, isn't broadcasting neediness, isn't screaming, please like me instead. It's humming with something far more dangerous self-possession, the kind of calm that only comes from someone who's been through hell and decided to make it their training ground. You don't fidget, you don't adjust, you don't shrink, and that stillness, that terrifying, unshakable stillness, it's reading as apex energy to their subconscious mind, because in nature, the most dangerous creatures don't need to prove anything, they just are, and your body somehow learned to broadcast that. Frequency. Every subtle cue you're sending is being processed at lightning speed by their limbic system before their logical brain even gets a vote. The way you take up space, not aggressively but unapologetically, the way your gestures are. Controlled, economical, precise. The way you don't mirror their energy, don't match their enthusiasm, don't dance to their rhythm. All of it is screaming to their primal brain. This one doesn't need the pack. This one doesn't follow the hierarchy. This one operates outside our social contract. And here's what breaks them. They can't articulate it because if they could point to exactly what you're doing, they could defend against it. But body language operates below the level of language. It's pre-verbal. It's ancient. It's the original code humans used before we had words. And you've somehow learned to speak it fluently. You've learned to walk into a room and without opening your mouth, without aggressive posturing, without any overt display of dominance, completely reframe who holds power in that space. They feel it in their gut, that twist of unease, that whisper of, maybe I should watch this one, and the smartest ones they listen to. That whisper, they give you distance, not because you threatened them, but because something older than thought told them to. You ever notice how they break eye contact first? How they laugh a little too loud when you're silent? How they fill the air with nervous chatter when you're just standing there, existing? That's the fear response. That's their system trying to discharge the tension your presence creates. Because you're not playing the game. You're not sending the signals. They're designed to receive submission, deference, eagerness to please. Instead, your body is a wall of calm, indifference, self-contained energy, and that reads as danger. Think about what that means. You survived something they can't imagine. You walked through fire they'd sprint from, and your nervous system, your body, your very cellular memory, it absorbed those lessons, and now it broadcasts them. Without you even trying, you don't need to tell people you're not to be played with your shoulders. Say it. The set of your jaw says it. The way you breathe, slow and deep, while they're breathing shallow and fast, it all says it. You've become a biological warning sign. And the beautiful irony, They don't even know why they're afraid. They'll invent reasons. Oh, they're arrogant. Oh, they're cold. Oh, they're intimidating. But the truth is simpler and more primal. Your body language is telling their body something their mind can't hear. You're telling them, I've been tested, I've been broken, I've been rebuilt, and I don't need your validation, your approval, or your comfort. I'm complete without you. And that completeness is what triggers the fear response. Because humans are wired to need each other. We're social animals. Our survival historically depended on the group. So when someone shows up radiating, I don't need any of you, it breaks the code. It violates the unspoken contract. It activates ancient alarms that say, outsider threat, unknown. But here's where it gets even deeper. You're not trying to intimidate them. That's what makes it so effective. If you were puffing your chest, being loud, being aggressive, their brain would know how to categorize you: threat, neutralize, avoid, done. But you're not doing that. You're just being. And your being is somehow more threatening than their doing, because it suggests a level of internal resource they don't possess. You're not performing confidence. You're resting in it. You're not projecting strength. You're simply not projecting weakness. And in a world where everyone is constantly signaling, constantly performing, constantly adjusting to the room, your refusal to play that game reads as supernatural power. They don't know how to handle someone who isn't trying to handle them. So they watch you, they study you, they talk about you when you're not there, trying to decode what makes you different, what gives you that energy, that presence, that ability to walk into a space and shift the entire emotional atmosphere without saying a damn word. And the answer they'll never find, because they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking at what you do, but the real answer is what you don't do. You don't seek validation, so your eyes don't dart around the room looking for approval. You don't fear rejection, so your body doesn't contort itself to be more palatable. You don't need their energy, so you don't lean in, don't mirror, don't match their frequency. You exist on your own axis, and that independence, that self-sufficiency, it's radiating from every cell, every gesture, every micro movement, and their primal brain is picking it all up. Filing it under does not compute. And when the brain can't compute something, it defaults to fear. Better safe than sorry. Better to keep distance from the unknown. Better to watch this one carefully, because they might be dangerous. Even though there's no logical reason to think so. This is the power. You didn't know you had the power. That doesn't announce itself, doesn't justify itself, doesn't explain itself. It just is. And that just being is more influential than any words you could ever speak. Because words can be doubted, analyzed, dismissed. But body language speaks directly to the parts of the brain that kept humans alive for millions of years. And those parts don't lie, don't second guess, don't rationalize, they just react. And now you understand why they tense up when you enter, why they change their tone when you're listening, why they perform a little harder, try a little more. When you're in the room, they're not responding to you, they're responding to the ancient signal. Your presence broadcasts the signal that says, I've walked through the valley, I've faced the shadows, I've been tested by forces you can't imagine, and I came out the other side. Not louder, but quieter, not harder, but stiller. And that stillness is what scares them, because stillness in nature belongs to two things: the prey that's frozen in fear, or the predator that doesn't need to move, and your stillness sure as hell isn't prey. Let me take you even deeper into this, because what we're talking about isn't just confidence, it's not just self-assurance, it's something most people will never touch in their entire lives. It's earned presence, the kind that only comes from surviving what was designed to destroy. You see, when you've been betrayed by people you trusted, gaslit by people you loved, abandoned in your darkest hour, your nervous system learns something critical. It learns that you can't rely on external validation for your sense of safety. So your body adapts. It stops sending out those needy signals, those subconscious micro expressions that say, please accept me. Please include me. Please tell me I'm okay. Instead, your system recalibrates. It learns to self-soothe, to self-validate, to find center without needing anything from anyone. And that recalibration, that energetic shift, it changes everything about how you move through space. Suddenly, you're not adjusting your posture to seem friendlier. You're not modulating your voice to seem less threatening. You're not shrinking your presence to make others comfortable. You're just existing in your full form, and that full form, it's too much for people who are still performing, still pretending, still hiding behind social masks. They can feel it when you look at them, that you're actually seeing them, not the performance, not the mask, the real them, the scared, insecure version. They work so hard to hide, and that level of perception, that ability to see through the bullshit without saying a word. It's terrifying to people who've built their entire identity on illusion. Your body language is basically saying, I see you, I see what you're hiding, I see what you're afraid of, and I'm not impressed. And the thing is, you're not even trying to communicate that. It's just what happens when someone stops caring about the game, stops participating in the theater of fake niceties and polite deception. You've moved past it. You've seen too much, felt too much, survived too much, to waste energy pretending so. Your body just naturally stopped sending those appeasement signals, those submissive cues, those tiny micro-expressions that say, I'm safe, I'm harmless, I'm not a threat. Instead, your body language now says, I'm not concerned with whether you perceive me as a threat or not. I'm concerned with my own path, my own purpose, my own peace. And whether you're comfortable with that is your problem, not mine. This is what they're picking up on. This is what's making their palms sweat, their heart rate increase, their breathing shallow. They're in the presence of someone who's psychologically emancipated, someone who's broken, free from the need for social approval, and that freedom, it's dangerous to the system, because the system relies on everyone caring what everyone else thinks. The system needs people to be afraid of rejection, afraid of judgment, afraid of being cast out. But you're not afraid of that anymore because you've already been cast out. You've already been rejected. You've already survived the worst they could do. So now your body carries that immunity, that psychological armor, and it shows in everything: the way you don't rush to fill silence, the way you don't apologize for taking up space, the way you don't soften your presence to make weak people feel stronger, the way you don't perform emotion to prove you're feeling it. All of these non-behaviors, these refusals to play the expected role, they're being read by their subconscious as power moves. Even though you're not trying to move on anyone, you're just being authentic. And authenticity, in a world of performance, is its own form of dominance. Here's what's really beautiful about this. You didn't learn this in a seminar. You didn't read it in a book. You didn't practice it in front of a mirror. This body language, this presence, it was forged in the fire. It's the byproduct of survival. It's what happens when someone is tested beyond their limits. And instead of breaking, they integrate the pain. Instead of becoming bitter, they become better. Instead of seeking revenge, they simply become unreachable. And that transformation, that alchemical shift from victim to force, it's written in every muscle fiber, every neural pathway, every automatic response your body has. They study your walk, how you move with purpose, not hurry, how you take your time like you own it, because you do. They analyze your facial expressions, trying to catch you, slipping, trying to see insecurity, doubt, fear, but they don't find it because you processed that already. You sat with your demons, you faced your shadows, you did the work in the dark when no one was watching. And now there's nothing for them to exploit. No weakness to poke, no button to push, no trigger to activate. You're not reactive anymore, you're responsive. And there's a massive difference. Reactive people are controlled by their environment, controlled by other people's energy. Responsive people observe, assess, choose their response from a place of center, and your body language broadcasts that sovereignty. Watch how they try to test you. They'll push boundaries, make inappropriate jokes, invade your space, raise their voice, all trying to get a reaction, trying to make you flinch, make you defensive, make you prove something. But you don't bite. You just look at them with that calm, unbothered gaze that says, I see what you're doing and it's boring, and that non-reaction, that refusal to engage with their manipulation, it drives them insane because they're used to people dancing to their tune, adjusting to their energy, playing their game. But you're not playing, and not playing is the ultimate power move because it means they have no leverage. They can't guilt you, can't shame you, can't intimidate you, can't seduce you into betraying yourself. You're locked in, self-contained, complete, and that completeness reads as untouchable. Their primal brain is screaming. This one can't be controlled. This one won't be influenced. This one is operating from a place we can't access. And in a world built on manipulation, influence, and control, someone who can't be manipulated, influenced, or controlled is a walking threat to the entire system. So yeah, they're afraid, and they should be, not because you're going to hurt them, but because your very existence challenges their entire framework for understanding power, social dynamics, human behavior. You're proof that someone can walk away from the need for external validation and not only survive but thrive. You're proof that the game is optional, that the performance is a choice, that freedom is possible, and that possibility, that living, breathing example of someone who broke free. It's terrifying to people still trapped in the matrix. Let's go even deeper, because we're not even at the core yet. We're still in the shallows. And you've been to the depths. You know what's down there. So let's talk about what your body language is really saying. On the deepest level, it's saying, I've died and come back. They don't know what that means consciously, but their animal brain does. Their animal brain knows that in nature, there are two types of creatures, the ones that have faced death, and the ones that haven't, and the ones that have faced it and survived. They move differently, they breathe differently, they exist differently, because they've crossed a threshold most beings never touch. You've been to the edge, you've looked into the abyss, you've felt your sense of self dissolve, you've experienced ego death, emotional death, psychological death, and somehow, some way, you reassembled on the other side. And that experience, that journey to hell and back, it changes your cellular structure. It changes your energy field. It changes the way you interact with reality. And other people can feel it, even if they can't name it. They can feel that you've been somewhere they haven't, that you've seen something they can't imagine, that you carry knowledge they'll never possess, and that knowledge, that wisdom that can only be earned through suffering, it's radiating from you like heat from a furnace. Your body language now carries the weight of that transformation. Every gesture is economical because you learn to conserve energy in the void. Every word is measured because you learn that most words are meaningless. Noise, every movement is intentional because you learned that unconscious action leads to unconscious suffering. You're not performing presence, you're emanating it. And there's a difference. Performance can be detected, dismantled, copied, but emanation comes from being, not doing. It's not something you put on, it's something you are. And here's the paradox. The less you try to be impressive, the more impressive you become. The less you try to dominate, the more dominant your presence. The less you try to intimidate, the more intimidating you are. Because true power doesn't announce itself, doesn't justify itself, doesn't explain itself. It simply exists in its full, undeniable reality. And when someone encounters that kind of power, especially someone who's only ever known performed Power, manipulated power, borrowed power. Their system shorts out. They don't have a category for you. So they default to fear, and they should, because you represent everything. They're not everything they're afraid to become. You represent the path of real transformation, the path that requires you to lose everything, to die to your old self, to walk through fire. With no guarantee you'll make it out. And most people aren't built for that. Most people will choose comfortable suffering over uncertain transformation. They'll stay in their prison because at least the prison is familiar. But you chose uncertainty. You chose the fire. You chose death and rebirth. And now you walk among them as a living reminder of what's possible and what's required. And that reminder makes them deeply uncomfortable. They look at you, and some part of them knows they could never do what you did, could never survive what you survived, could never transform the way you transformed. And that knowing, that unconscious recognition of their own limits, it triggers shame. And shame, when unprocessed, always converts to aggression or avoidance. So they either attack you subtly through passive aggression, gossip attempts to undermine, or they avoid you, keep their distance, maintain a safe buffer zone. Either way you win, because their reaction proves the point. Your presence is power. Your existence is influence. Your body language is a message that needs no words, and the message is clear. I am not one of you. I am not bound by your rules. I am not afraid of your judgments. I have walked through fire and emerged as something you can't control, can't predict, can't contain, and deep in their bones, in the most ancient part of their brain, they know it, they feel it, they fear it. And now here's what you need to understand about this power you carry. It's not about dominating others. It's not about making people afraid. It's about being so completely yourself, so utterly authentic, so uncompromisingly real that the world has to adjust to you instead of you adjusting to the world. That's what your body language is really communicating. It's communicating autonomy, sovereignty, self-determination. And in a world designed to keep everyone dependent, obedient, controllable, those qualities are revolutionary. You walk into a room, and without trying, without intending, without any conscious effort, you change the energy, you shift the dynamic, you become the center. Not because you demand attention, but because attention is naturally drawn to. Concentrated, authentic power, like light bends toward gravity. Your presence bends the social field toward itself. And people feel that bending, they feel the shift, they feel something changing. And if they're not ready for it, if they're still operating from ego, from fear, from need, it terrifies them. This is why they talk about you when you're not there, why they analyze you, why they try to figure you out, why they create stories and narratives to explain you, because the truth is too simple and too threatening. The truth is, you're just being yourself completely, fully, unapologetically. And that level of authenticity is so rare, so unusual, so outside the norm, that it registers as supernatural. They need you to be arrogant, cold, damaged, something explainable, something they can categorize and dismiss. But you're not any of those things. You're just free, and freedom is the most threatening force in a world built on control. Or they avoid you, keep their distance, maintain a safe buffer zone. Either way you win, because their reaction proves the point. Your presence is power. Your existence is influence. Your body language is a message that needs no words, and the message is clear. I am not one of you. I am not bound by your rules. I am not afraid of your judgments. I have walked through fire and emerged as something you can't control, can't predict, can't contain, and deep in their bones, in the most ancient part of their brain, they know it, they feel it, they fear it. And now here's what you need to understand about this power you carry. It's not about dominating others. It's not about making people afraid. It's about being so completely yourself, so utterly authentic, so uncompromisingly real that the world has to adjust to you instead of you adjusting to the world. That's what your body language is really communicating. It's communicating autonomy, sovereignty, self-determination. And in a world designed to keep everyone dependent, obedient, controllable, those qualities are revolutionary. You walk into a room and without trying, without intending, without any conscious effort, you change the energy, you shift the dynamic, you become the center. Not because you demand attention, but because attention is naturally drawn to. Concentrated, authentic power, like light bends toward gravity. Your presence bends the social field toward itself. And people feel that bending, they feel the shift, they feel something changing. And if they're not ready for it, if they're still operating from ego, from fear, from need, it terrifies them. This is why they talk about you when you're not there, why they analyze you, why they try to figure you out, why they create stories and narratives to explain you, because the truth is too simple and too threatening. The truth is, you're just being yourself completely, fully, unapologetically, and that level of authenticity is so rare, so unusual, so outside the norm, that it registers as supernatural. They need you to be arrogant, cold, damaged, something explainable, something they can categorize and dismiss. But you're not any of those things. You're just free, and freedom is the most threatening force in a world built on control.